The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our webinar today on upfront payments, a very exciting new feature that we have recently launched with Shortcuts. I'm going to wait just a minute to see if anyone else is going to join us this morning. Well, for some of you on the East Coast this afternoon. And then we'll get started in just a moment. All right, great. It looks like a couple more people did jump on. We're going to go ahead and get started this morning. Again, thank you so much for joining. The topic for today's webinar is upfront payments. This is a very exciting new feature that we've just launched here in Shortcuts North America. And I am Angel Gonzalez, your presenter today. Okay, as always, just a little bit of housekeeping. The duration of the webinar today will be about 30 minutes. As you can tell, my microphone is on and everyone else is automatically muted. Okay, and also your speakers must be on today to hear this webinar. So if you don't hear me right now, hopefully you're running to turn them on right now. Questions can be taken during and after the webinar. So please use the question or chat box to send any questions that you have about the webinar and the content we're going through today. I wanted to give everyone an overview of the webinar today. So today we will learn what is upfront payments and why do you need Stripe upfront payments in your life right now, why you'll love upfront payments, how do you set up upfront payments, how does it work for your clients, and how does it work for you? Okay, so what is upfront payments? So upfront payments is powered by Stripe. It's an integrated payment solution that allows you to secure a part or full upfront payment from a client for their appointment. So for customers that book online or for customers that book online via the mobile guest app, you're able to set up and configure that they need to pay either a portion or all of their appointment cost up front. Okay, and for those of you that are like, what's Stripe? So Stripe is a best of breed third-party company that we've chosen. Stripe powers all of the payments that you do through Uber or Airbnb and companies like that. Okay, so what can it do for my business? One of the things we feel it can do for your business is it can certainly help to reduce no-shows. So by securing part or full payment for your service up front, clients are much more likely to show up for their appointment. I know if I paid for something up front, I wouldn't probably likely not show up for that session or for that appointment. And then if a guest doesn't show up, you can then choose if you're going to charge a portion or the full amount of the upfront payment as a cancellation fee. Okay, it saves time for staff, so guests can book and pay on their mobile devices using upfront payments. Your staff won't have to do a thing. Creates a seamless guest experience. So it's a simple few-step process that clients can do from home or on their computer or from the mobile guest app. Okay, and again, it really allows you to kind of have security over those online bookings. Again, you know, if you require them to pay a portion or even the full amount of a service up front, it's more likely that that customer will show up. Okay, any questions about that? All right. So why will you love it? So for you, secure payment before a client's appointment, again, reduce no-shows. Increase guest spend on additional products or services during the appointment. So this kind of has that rule about, when we charge them up front, or at least charge them a portion of it up front, the client kind of gets the idea that they're not paying that amount today, although they've already paid for it. So they might actually be more willing to purchase product or purchase additional services when they maybe wouldn't before. Okay. Streamline your front desk. So if you do require the full service to be paid up front, all we have to do is complete that sale at the front desk. Okay. And it's fully configurable and flexible to suit your needs. Okay, so you can choose only certain employees require upfront payments, only certain services require upfront payments. So why will your clients love it? Your clients can book through your app or online booking, meaning it's super simple and familiar because they've already done this before, right? And their details are securely saved as a token ready for next time. So they will have to obviously enter their credit card details the first time, but then Stripe tokenizes that and allows us to save that information and then recharge the customer going forward. Okay, so I just wanted to give you some steps on what you need to do to set up upfront payments. So first and foremost, you need to talk to your customer care rep so we can get you on one of our tier packages that allows you to use upfront payments with Stripe. Okay. Once we do that, you log into the Shortcuts console. You access the Book Me settings tile. Access the upfront payment settings section. You will then have to accept the T's and C's, and then you'll connect your Stripe account. So you will either create a Stripe account if you don't have one already, or if you do have one, you'll just simply enter your username and password for Stripe. Okay. At this point, you would then activate upfront payments with Shortcuts, update the payment privacy policy to meet your business needs if necessary, and then you would set up your upfront payment rules. So again, specify which services, what percent or what dollar amount you want them to be able to pay up front. Okay, so I just wanted to show a little video now that we've talked a little bit about how to set it up. I wanted to show a video here, and I'll talk through this as well. Okay, so set up your upfront payments. So we'll talk about activating, linking your Stripe account, and setting up rules. Okay, so as I said, you need to access the Book Me settings tile. You'll want to choose the site. So if you have multiple locations, you'll want to choose which site you're doing this for. This is the T's and C's page from the upfront payment setup. You'll have to accept those T's and C's. So tick the little box, and then down at the bottom, choose Accept. Okay, once you've done that, you'll go in to edit the general settings, and you'll see you have that Connect with Stripe. So at this point, you'll either set up an account, or up at the top on the right, there's an area where you can sign in. Okay, once your Stripe account is connected, you'll go back in, and you'll need to then activate your upfront payments. And also down below that is where you can update the payment policy text if necessary. Okay, we obviously have a standard one, but you might want to add some extra detail around when you would actually charge a fee rather than not charging them. Okay, once you've connected your Stripe account and activated upfront payments, at this point, it would be time for you to then add a rule. So rules around how the upfront payments actually work. Okay, so over on the right, you have add a rule. You can name this rule. It could even be something that you only use around the holiday season if you'd like. So 50% makeup deposit, You can specify how many days in advance. So apply rule when booking is made more than X days in advance. If you put 0, it's any day. You can put a percentage or a minimum booking deposit. And then down at the bottom, you would just click that little box that says applies to book me. Again, remember, this is for online booking and any bookings made through the guest app. And then you would save that rule. Okay. Once you've added the rule, you can then specify which employees this rule applies to. So if it's not for everybody, you can specify which specific employees this applies to, and then save that information. By default, it's all employees. And then you can also specify which services. So we set up this 50% makeup deposit, so we'd want to do this on the makeup services. So it'll show a list of all of your services that you have configured in your system. And then we're just going to check the whole category for makeup. Okay. And then you have your payment rule set up. There's also a priority, so you can switch the priority of your rules as well. So if you have services that are in more than one rule, based upon the priority, it knows which one to choose first. It'll always go with the highest priority. If you have multiple sites as well, you guys, you can copy these rules to other locations. Okay. One hot tip I will give you about that is if you don't have the same services at all the locations, it may copy the rule for you, but you might still have to go in and configure the services. Okay, so I can copy those, and then they'll be at my other locations as well. All right. Okay, looks like I might have a question here. Okay. This is a question about all transactions being run through Stripe. Right now, this integration is only for upfront payments. You are more than welcome to speak to Stripe about any information and any negotiation. We don't actually control the account itself, so that is something that you would do directly with Stripe. But I don't believe they actually have card readers. It's all mobile payments. All right. Okay, so how does it work for clients? Clients make a booking as usual through the mobile guest app or through online booking. Your client enters their card details into the Stripe payment window and presses confirm and pay. If you have enabled it, your client will then receive an email confirmation. So it's the standard email confirmation that generally comes from online booking. Just now it will actually show that they've made a upfront payment during the booking. And also, you guys, after their first upfront payment, your client's card details will be securely stored, as I mentioned before, as a token in their online booking account or in the app. Okay, looks like I might have another question here. Okay, the question is, what information is required for us to set up a Stripe account? Does it require bank information? Yes, when you set up a Stripe account, it will require you to connect your bank account because Stripe will need to know where to actually deposit those fees for you. Okay. Okay, so I just also wanted to show you how does it work for your client. I'll actually go through right now in this video how clients make an upfront payment in the mobile guest app. Okay, so here's the guest app. And obviously for those of you that are already using it, nothing really changes as far as the booking process. It's just once they get to the end where they want to confirm the booking, it will then ask them to pay. So if I click book now, I'll choose the service I want, choose the therapist or stylist I want, choose my time, and then at that point, it will tell me that I actually need to pay the full amount of this service now. Okay, so I do have to tick a little box that will tell me you agree that I'm paying this up front. So once I check that, it will then highlight the button that's called Confirm and Pay. This is the Stripe payment screen, so they'll enter their card details here and then click the Pay button. And then once that happens, it'll actually tell them the amount they've paid. And then when they click Done, the booking is done, and here's the confirmation email that shows the payment. Okay, this is showing you once the payment has already been entered, the next time they make an appointment, it actually shows us payment will be collected from a card that we have on file, and it tells us what card that is. Okay, this is also showing us the booking and the point of sale. Okay, and it's showing us that little icon on the appointment that tells our users or our staff members that there has been an upfront payment. And it shows in the touch tip as well. It also, any of these transactions will show in your transaction list as well as in the customer's history. Okay, looks like I might have another question here. The question is, can processing fees be charged to the customer through the setup? The processing fees are charged to you through Stripe. You can decide whether or not you want to add an additional fee onto your services, so up that price a little bit to accommodate those fees. Okay. There's also a question, how is the card info deleted from the account profile? So once the card is actually attached to the customer's account profile, through online booking, they would click on their profile up at the top of the booking page, and in there they'd see the card connected and they can delete it from there. Or through the app, it's similar. So they would go to the My Profile tile, they would see the card connected, and they can delete it from their profile through the app. There's a question here that says, is there a way to have the clients pay only 50% of the services instead of the full amount, or only save the card without charging? Right now, it is for a payment, so we can't save the card on file and not charge them. But yes, you can configure the percentage or the amount that you want to accept or require upfront. So you could specify that all services require a 50% upfront fee. All right. So how does it work for you? As soon as a client makes an upfront payment, the payment will be visible in your appointment book. So as we just showed you in the end of that video, it shows a little icon on the appointment, and if I click on that appointment, it'll also show in the touch tip. Okay. And of course, you can see the money or the deposit through your Stripe account as well. Okay, it always comes in that needs review color also. So just like any online booking, it will be that yellow color. But if there was an upfront payment attached, it'll have that little icon on it. Okay, and as I mentioned just a moment ago, it will also be in your transaction list as well as in the customer history. There's a question, is there a way to make prepayment an option for the client and not mandatory? Right now, the upfront payment rules that you set up are mandatory. So it's not an optional option at this point. So if you set up an upfront payment, they can't choose whether or not they're going to pay it or not. They must pay that upfront payment to you. Okay, so here's a video on how we manage it and how it works for you. So this is once the client has made an upfront payment, what happens in the store? Okay, so how do I check them out? How do I view their history? And how do I handle a cancellation? So there's Zoe with her upfront payment already charged. Okay, again, I can see it in the touch tip down there. She's paid $8 of the $40 expected. If I go to check her out, or sorry, review it first, and then mark her arrived, and then we'll go ahead and take her to checkout. You can see that the redemption actually shows automatically. So your staff won't actually need to do anything to reply that redemption. And then it just shows us the remainder of the payment that needs to be processed. So of course they can add products, tip, anything at that point. Okay, I can see it in the history that there was a booking prepayment as well as a booking redemption. Okay, so what do I do if a client cancels? And we're going to show that here in just a moment. Okay, so we delete that appointment because unfortunately she can't make it. She had another commitment that she forgot about apparently. We mark it as a cancellation. And then down on the bottom on the right in the menu section, we have this cancellation screen. So at this point, I should be able to manage the payment. Okay, so she paid $11 up front. So I'm going to click on that option. So if I select her cancellation, I can, again, it's $11 up front. I can decide if I'm going to charge that entire amount to the client for canceling, so charge cancellation fee and then process. Or if I actually want to transfer a portion of that to the customer's account. So I can click on transfer to account and then process that way. Okay, you notice we're adjusting the fee down to $5. And then we can process that. So $5 will be the cancellation fee, and then the rest would go to the customer's account. And then I can choose done once I'm done there. Okay. I know there might be some questions about that, so I'll hold here for just a moment to see if you guys have any questions. The other thing that I will mention while I'm waiting to see if there are questions is you guys might be wondering if there's any reporting against the prepayments and the redemptions. And the answer is yes. In any of your payment reports, as well as your trading summary, you'd be able to see that information. So there is a question about transfer to account. Is that the customer's account in shortcuts? The answer is correct, yes. So that's using the accounts feature. It would transfer the money to the customer's account so that you could then apply that fee or that payment to a later booking that they made. Okay, you guys, so that brings me to the webinar summary. So today we talked about why you need Stripe in your life now, right? How you can reduce no-shows, why upfront payments go hand in hand with online booking and the mobile guest app, how to secure a part or full payment before a client's appointment, and of course, a lot of other details that we discussed as well. Okay, so at this point, you guys, we will open up to any more questions that you have. So remember, if you haven't been using the questions or chat box yet, you can just open up your little GoToWebinar side panel and find the question or chat box and send those straight to me, and then I can answer those. Okay, so while I'm waiting for you guys to type any more questions that you have, I just want to remind you about the Learning Center, because all of those videos that I showed you today on upfront payments, they are in the Learning Center. So if you go to our website, shortcuts.net, click on the support drop-down tab and then go to the Learning Center, you can find those in the Shortcuts Fusion section. Okay, and again, it's under a section called Upfront Payments, and you'll find all those videos we showed today. Okay. Okay, don't forget, there's always more webinars, right? So this webinar that that you guys are participating in today, this is recorded, and it will be up on our website probably by next week. So if you want to review it or share it with anybody else, you certainly can. So to do that, shortcuts.net, you go to the resources drop-down tab and then click on webinars. Looks like I might have a question. The question is, can this be applied to a person or for phone bookings? Right now, the Stripe integration is only used for online bookings and bookings made through the mobile guest app. So Katie, stay tuned though, because some of that might be coming shortly. So make sure that you're subscribed to our emails and you're checking back with your customer care rep. Okay, so upfront payments are here. As I said, you guys, this feature is definitely launched and available for anybody in North America. You can contact your customer care rep by calling either one of these numbers. So if you're local, the 714 number. If you're calling from Canada, you can certainly use our toll-free 866. And you can find some information on our website as well. Again, that's shortcuts.net. Okay, and don't forget, you can always rely on your education team here as well. So for questions about upfront payments that are just related on how it works, you're more than welcome to email the education team at education@shortcuts.net. You can post questions on our Facebook page as well. And again, like I said, there's some more information on our website. Okay, let's see if we have any more questions here. Okay, I'll give you guys a couple more questions. So if you guys have any more questions, just pop them in the chat box and we'll go ahead and answer those. Okay, well, it looks like everybody's got their questions answered. And you guys, again, if anything else comes up after the webinar today, you've got quite a few options on how you can contact us to get some information. Again, remember, don't forget your education team or your customer care reps. So education@shortcuts.net. Or don't forget, you can call directly through to the office to speak to the customer care team. You guys, thank you so much for spending the time to come and join us today. If you don't have any more questions, go ahead and drop off. I'll stay on for just a couple more minutes to see if anybody else has any questions. Looks like I might have one more here. Okay. If you do have a question, just go ahead and type it in the box there and send it through. All right, you guys, thank you so much for your time today. Again, we really appreciate you taking the time to join in on our webinars and to hear about our exciting new features that we have coming. We're very excited about this one. Again, if you have other questions, please don't hesitate to contact us or get some information from our website. Thank you guys, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we are very excited to hear from you soon about this feature.